Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello, teacher.
Okay, okay, very good, thanks. Um, please wait your friends another 5 minutes. Group 2, please be ready for the question, okay? Yes, you had presented the East Asia miracles, and then you focused on Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan. So we will open our discussion shortly. Okay, we may start now, then. Yes, like I discussed to you earlier, group 2 has presented to us about the East Asian miracle, and then they have discovered with the three major concepts for you. And they have managed to understand about Taiwan's economy as general, Japanese economy as general, and also South Korea's. And after that, they also moving to the some of the policies that they have used in order to make the economic changes. And after that, they also have illustrated the insight of each policy for you all too. So I doubt if our listener have questions for group two to address further. Okay, let's start from me then to open the discussion. Group two, can you just tell us a little bit further why you feel that why people call this one as the miracles in ages? In what particular areas that we can consider that this one is the miracle happens in these three countries? Hello, hello.
Yes, hello, lecturer. So regarding to your question of the uh, East Asia America, in which was called because due to the rapid growth of this country, especially that we have mentioned in the presentation, just like Taiwan, Japan, and South Korea, in which they could um, contribute. I mean, they could conduct the policy that attribute to, especially the export-oriented policy, strong development policy, and the unit of this policy that making them a sustained rapid growth and high levels of equal income distribution. That was why this country was called the I mean, this was called the East Asia America. Yes.
Okay, yeah, partially is correct with this. Yes, to continue or to follow up with these questions, okay, suppose that those are the miracles that we learned so far in terms of the rapid economic growth in in that regions. So, what might be the ideas? What might be the root cause that the three country decided to do the reforms, and then they realized the very rapid growth. Is it come from the let's say what are the root cause of decided what are the root cause deciding to move to such a policy to accelerate or stimulate the growth? You may rest one by one. I mean, each country in particular, or you may discuss it as the generals. All right.
Yes, lecturer, give us some minutes.
Okay.
Sure. So the root cause that this country they want to conduct their economic development. So starting from Japan. So Japan after the war, their country is in ruin. So at that time, the Cold War just started, and communist sympathizer have a lot in the country. So the government want to recover as much as they can and as rich as they can, so they can give the people a better livelihood and promote democracy. And the United States, they also support Japan in this as well because they scared that Japan might fall into the communist influence. And for South Korea, their root cause, they want to develop their country economic development because they want to be richer, more advanced than North Korea because they are scared that the North Korea might invade their country once again, like the first Korean War. And as well as for Taiwan, they are scared that the mainland might invade them, so they decide to develop their economy and they want to provide the citizen better livelihood as well.
Okay. Are there any ideas for the group members to add with this comment from your friends? Yes, I think you should notice also that just only the last 50 years or maybe 30 years ago, let's say 50 years ago, Japan just finished their war, I mean the Second World War, and then the South Korea, they just realized the Korea's divisions to South Korea and North Korea. And Taiwan also used to be under the control by the Chinese government. And then I believe that those kind of software will bring the country to realize or to continue to think about how to make the country better because they suffer a lot already. Okay, I think that should be the idea beyond this. Yeah, I think in your presentations you also discussed a little bit about the public policy in some of the three country. Can you just let us know which of the public policy within the three country that you feel very interested in and why you feel very interested in those public policy? Okay, just uh, just let us know about your opinion a little bit. For example, in the South Korea, you have told us that there are the land reforms policy, there is the industrialized policy, and also there's some part of the finishing the military role in the country. So, let's say, which one is the most contributions? I mean, the highest contributions to the economic growth in particular country. Okay, this one is just example in South Korea, but there might be also the other policy that also the policy that you have illustrated or you have told us in the Japan and Taiwan. So can you just give us more about your idea, which one you feel is the good one for the three country? You may just bring us the reform that you really feel that is the best policy for each particular country.
Sure, so I would like to explain for Taiwan because as we can see, currently Taiwan is one of the leader in terms of information technology. So they started to pursue technology development since 1970s. They started to establish Institute of Technology, have their own Ministry of Technology, and then they also following the footpath of Silicon Valley, giving tech incentive to big technology companies. And now the Hsinchu Science Park it's like the second Silicon Valley, and it's bring in a lot of revenue for the country, around 15 to 20% of the total GDP. And there is one Taiwanese company called Foxconn. It is the main suppliers of Apple and other electronic brands. So I think this is the best one that they have pursued so far for Taiwan.
Okay. Yes. How about the group members? Do you have any ideas to add on this? I just remember that the listener or the audience, when it is just not only for the group presenters, but also for us. If you have any ideas or you want to comment on something, just feel free to comment it, okay? We can discuss further about your ideas or about your opinions, and then we can find the better ways to learn this three country better. Okay, so any additional ideas from the group members and the rest of the class?
Yes. Yes, I have something to add here, regardless of Taiwan's. Yes. So for me, basically, I interested in the the policy that Taiwan is conducted from the 1958 until 72, the transition and export promotion. Yes, in which like it refers to it saved the economy that fall down in the by 11% from the 1952 until 56, and during at that time, just like I mentioned in the slide, there was also the trade deficit of 70 million of Taiwan running, and the 5% drop down of employment. So three reforms that were conducted 1958 until 72, that was the the exchange, the 19-point economic and fiscal reform program, the statutes of the encouragement of investment, and the last one is the foreign exchange reform. So I'm going to explain each by each. So the first one is the foreign exchange reform, like it adopted at the end of the 1957. Like it conducted the multiple exchange rate system in the 1963, like $1 equal to 40 around NT Taiwan, and the single exchange rate system ended to the evacuation. And the new Taiwan dollars, it paved the way for the decade of the export expansion. And the second reform is the 19-point program of 1960. Like it intended to encourage saving and investment, and it also reduced the expenditure and promote the exportation. And nonetheless, it's also established the permanent economic institution, just like the central banking system and the capital market that Taiwan has currently running right now. Yes, and another one, yes, and it can contribute to the provide a preferential treatment to the private business from those economic institution, banking, central banking system, and capital market. And the last part is SEI. Yes, it was redesigned to reduce the tax burdens, and it's also facilitate the plan. Simplify the investment license procedure. Like it's covers the tax incentive for export, and yes, and it was available for the domestic as well as foreign investor, and it has played a key role also to the Taiwan. Yes, and those 3 points that the reform that I have mentioned earlier, like what I have interested in. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much that you focus on Taiwan. But I'm very curious about the land reform in South Korea. Why the South Korean leaders brought the topic of the land reforms to be putting in place during their times? But what does the land reform can contribute to the economic growth, and why that area in South Korea? Why not in Japan? They also why not they do not use the land reform policy? Yeah, so I'm very curious about the land reform in South Korea. Can you just give us more ideas about the land reform in South Korea? For example, like why the government decided to use that policy, and what might be the impact of using the land reforms to contribute to economic growth in South Korea?
Yes, sure. About the land reform in South Korea, it's also related to the South Korean miracle, because like at that time after the Japan colony, South Korea was like at very was a very poor country with low incomes, and also the most of the land in South Korea are for the agriculture, and the other part, like most of the industry and natural resources are in the north part. So they do the land reform for the farmer to like to improve like living standard of the farmers and yes, sir, and wait, that's all I got, sir.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Kunst. In what way or to what extent that the law reforms can make the living standard for the farmers become better?
Yes, sir, yes, sir. So, like I mentioned, like in the slide, like during the Japan colonies, they create the land tenure system, like the most of the farmer that own the land, like 3.6% of the landlord, they uh, farmer they own the landlord and they own the land, but they didn't actually do the farming. So they lend their land to the poor farmer, but they like take a lot of rent payments, and also they also take the advantage of let those farmer pay the land tax. And those people are like farmer, they contribute a lot of people, so they income make the country poor like that. Yeah.
Okay. So what did the South Korea land reform? What is the sorry? What did the South Korea government do with land reforms? Did they sell the land to the farmer, or did they do anything else?
So they first like they buy buy the land from those landlord, and also like give some compensation to the landlord, and then they took those land to sell to the peasant and with the low price, and also they have the farmer to like uh, increase their farming to the quota target. And yes, okay.
Yes, actually, the land reforms, the concept of land reforms is also happening in some of the other country. And the original ideas of doing a land reform is trying to transfer the ownership of the land from the landlord, like you have said, to the farmers. Okay, and why the government think like this way? Because when you are transferring the ownership of the land to the farmer, it seems like the incentive for them to work harder, and then they will increase their productivity, and then they will realize the highest outcomes. Okay, the output, I mean. And that's why at the end of the day, the country would realize the growth. That is the land reforms, was the rationale of the land reform. Okay. And it happened not only in this, but India also doing the same things. That was doing the same thing in the last couple of decades. Yeah, that's what I can realize. Okay. And can we just discuss a little bit further in terms of careers? At the end of the military role, how can the government can end with the military role? Are they changing their constitution law, or are they just changing the political system, or what did they do in terms of ending the military roles in the South Korea? Hello.
Wait, Jack, give me a
Okay.
second.
Okay.
Yes, Chad. So about the question that how the military role ends in South Korea was like at in 1979, like Park Chung-hee was like assassinated, and then Mr. President uh wait, I forgot his name. Like the one he took the presidencies and ruled like from 1980 to 1988, and that during that time at the end of his term, like from 1987, the economic of uh, Korea, they started impact by influenced by the democracies, and which like one of the former general called Ro Tae-woo, like he was a very popular elected president, but then he is also like one of the opposite leader, which they did not proceed to uh, role as a president of the South Korea, and which it and the era of the military government, and the country start with the free elections. And yes, yeah.
Okay, any ideas to be added on these opinions? Okay, so let me open this a little bit for you. Open the ideas, and then you can consider in more advanced level. Some people may ask, the South Korea and the North Korea, they just come from the same Korea before they divided into two. And then people might ask why South Korea moving faster than the North Korea. And then some of the empirical study has been proved that because of the political system in South Korea is quite better than the North Korea. That's why they realized the growth a lot compared to North Korea. However, there's still the controversy about the causality between political system and economic growth in this sense. We cannot say exactly because of the political system bring growth, and growth can bring the political system to be in a better way. But of course, cannot deny this one is one of the determinant for economic growth. Okay, but the causality is still in the controversy. Okay, so thank you so much for that. And then now we move to the Japan. I'm really curious that after the Second World War, the Japanese economy went down very low, meaning to say that it's below zero, it's minus. How could the Japanese government can stimulate the economic growth very fast just within 60 years after that? Can you just let us know a little bit about the policies, the public policy that you feel it's the best one for Japanese government?
Yes, as I mentioned earlier during the presentation, we know that after the war, as was mentioned earlier, the economic was going down, and one of the policies that I think that contribute the most uh, for the Japan to grow their economic is the income doubling plan. Because this plan it include many field like in the like it was aimed to double the national income of the Japan's and also to improve the living standard of the citizen. And in this plan they also like mainly focus on the industrializations and also the technology. So we can, yeah, and not only that, like it's also uh like mm, on the tax, like it has the tax break for the people, and it like also like promote for the foreign trade and the investment. And as the result, like we can see uh this plan, like they really help the Japan grow of their economic, like it make their national income like double within 10 years at after they have implemented. And yes, that's this the policy that I think that have contributed the most for the Japan economic growth during that time.
Okay, how about the group members? Are there any further ideas to be added? Okay, okay. Let me move to another policies that the Japanese government gets in the past. Can you just give us a little bit more ideas about the inclined production mode that the Japanese government did? What do you think about that policy? Would you agree with that policy, or would you have some ideas to complement with that policy?
Um, yes, about the uh, incline production mode, right? Yeah,
Yes, yes, inclined production mode.
like for this policy, I think it it also important like the this the like the method that they mainly produce the raw material um for the industry, like steel, coil, and cotton and something. And like in this, like they also not yeah, not only for the raw material, like they also have like yeah, they support and promote uh for the recruitment of the new labor, like after the war to start the industry. So there is uh less amount of the labor, so they recruit new labor, like especially for the female, also to start running the industry. Yes, like
Okay, after the group members. Okay, thank you so much then for the group presenters. I don't know whether our friends in this group have any further questions for group two. Okay, seem very quiet from our friends. Okay, so can you just, so we come to the end of our discussion. Can you just give us some, we still have some more times. Can you just give us some more, can you just give us the final comments on the Japanese economy restructures and also the South Korea and the Taiwan? What should we have learned from those experiences, and what might be the additional or the complementary ideas that you would add to those three countries? Okay, the final comments. Hello? Hello?
Yes, like we hear you.
Yes. Yeah, can you just give us the final comment on this three country? For example, like what we should learn from, or what are the important points that we should learn from this country experiences that they have done so far?
Yes, sorry, lecturer, for keep you waiting longer. So, what can our group learn from these three countries? So, from start with the Japan first. So, the Japan after the World War II, like it can boost the economic rapidly in like it conduct the policy like main one to the industrial policy, and it also adopt the incline production mode to boost their economic. And just with the good politic of the Japanese government, it also can contribute to the well-growth economy. And on the other hand, Taiwan's uh, what we can learn like most of the Taiwan policy that could develop their country to become the developed one, like it have uh, f- uh, the point that I mentioned earlier, just like from 1952 until the present time, like in conduct of four paces that we can learn. Mostly it based on the export and reform structure in their own economy. Yes, the first one is reform structure first, and when they can well run their own country, like can control the exchange rates, can reduce the tax system, export to the other country. Yes, and conduct the central banking system, and then they later can implement into the another level of policy, just like in the uh, 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 I mean foreign with a related network with the foreign. And for the South Korea, yes, for the South Korea, what we have learned, like um, there is the economic stabilization, liberalization, open up their economy, like creating a fair structure, encouraging competition in domestic market as well as the foreign market, and it's also avoiding the monopoly business in the market that making South Korea become uh, developed in the economy. That's what we have learned. And my apology for keep you waiting longer. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you for your final comments. How about the others group member? Can you just give us the final comment on the equities in some of these three countries? Yes, can you just give me the final comment on the equity in these three countries? I believe that the the equity concept should come to the South Korea countries, okay, because it is highest compared to Taiwan's and Japan's. So you might think about yes, you might think about the South Korea equities in this sense. Hello, can you hear me? Hello. Hello.
Your teacher for the equity from Japan, they claim from the much developing in manufacture, like he become the biggest exporter in manufactured good and also the most manufacturing country, developing manufacturing country. So they attract more investment uh, and they attract more investment and have a highest saving rate for the country, which as the biggest equity for Japan.
Okay, thank you. Actually, the term of equity here, you need to remember that that is the economic growth. Of course, it can make the living standards become better, and at the same time, it's also encourage the Gini coefficient, which is made of the social inequalities, meaning to say that some of the people, some particular group already captures already captures into the growth, while the others also suffer the growth, like we have learned in the international trade. That's why they come up to the ideas of equity. Okay, so I think that is the case of the income distributions in the countries that the government should be focusing on. In South Korea, if you look at the Gini coefficient, is highest compared to the other two countries, meaning to say that some people are still staying in the condition which we can consider as not suitable enough, I would say, but it's why. Okay, so I think that should be all for today's session, and thank you so much again for Group 2 about your hard work on this. And then Group 3, please be ready for next week, okay? We are going to do the same things. The first session, you need to present us the ideas that you have discovered so far. And then for the second session, we might need to open the discussion the same as this group, okay? Yep. May, you have something to say?
Yes, teacher. I actually have a question to ask for the exam specification for next week, teacher.
Ah, sorry. Let me check a little bit. Do we have the exams next week? Let me check my calendars. Give me a second first.
Yes, teacher.
Today is yes. Next week we are going to have the midterm test. You are right. I will send you the exam specifications as soon as possible. I would say by this way. And then yes, sorry, for group 3 for next week, you may have another week to go because we will have the 2 hours exams, meaning to say that it will start from 6 and then it's gonna finish by 8. Okay, I will send you the exam specifications as soon as possible. But be in mind that there will be 2 parts of the exams questions. One is the comprehensive questions, and the second one is the second one is the critical questions. Okay, I don't think that you need to turn on your webcams. You can just turn it off. I don't mind with that, but make sure that you need to send me the results when it is timed. Okay. So it's not necessary to turn on to your webcams for the midterms, but for the final exams, of course, that is the school policy. You need to turn on to your webcam, okay, at Avinst. So in conclusion, the midterm test will be divided into 2 parts. The first one is the the comprehension questions, which mainly based on the topic that we have discovered together, and then the second one is the critical questions. Okay, and you also need to be noticed that the presentations that you have done in the class that might be also appear in your exams. Okay, the midterm test. For example, like the sources and the drivers of economic growth in the Southeast Asia also might be possible to be appear in your exams question. Okay. But for the details, I will send you letters. Okay. Yeah. Is that clear, me for this moment?
Yes, teacher. Thank you very much, teacher.
Okay. Thank you too. Okay. Are there any further concerns? Okay, seem everything all right? What time? You have something to say? No.
No question, teacher.
Okay. So thank you so much again, and enjoy the rest of the day, okay? And take a good rest, okay? See you next week for the midterm exams, okay?
Goodbye, teacher.
Bye-bye. Good luck. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, lecturer.
Bye-bye. Good
Thank
luck.
you, goodbye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.